So, positive unexpected twist. 95% of the group is getting radical change in less than 30 days. And the one woman who's messing up my percentages, right, has a really big belief problem. So if you come to the group and you believe, we are getting amazing results. Women are loving life more and more. They're discovering their worth and their value. So there's another woman in the group that got an incremental raise. Has anyone in this group ever gotten an incremental raise? So it's rare, but not only did she get a $6,000 raise, when she was all bubbly about her raise, her boss said to her, well, Jessica, that's not the best news. The best news is you're set up for 6 more raises over the next year. Incremental raises. We like those. We talked about babies, twins, closer relationship, dreams, legacy, more money flowed. Okay, so we're using hooponopono as a foundation of healing. And let's try this one. My favorite all-time story is I had a client, and she came in, and she said, oh my gosh, Mary. She had worked in this, I'm not allowed to say where she works. She had worked in this high-powered position at a high-powered place for something like 20 years. And she was all distraught, and she said, Mary, I don't know what to do. I'm 1,000% sure my supervisor is trying to get me fired. And she said, I've been at this job, and I have a son, and I need this. Like, what do you think I should do? And I said, I have a perfect solution for you. Have you heard of hooponopono? And she normally didn't have anxiety, so I asked her to learn hooponopono. She loved it, and she went home and she began to practice it. She then came on the seminar, and a couple of weeks after the seminar, her boss got moved just out of nowhere, taken out of the situation, and she got promoted. Now, she loved hooponopono so much, she just did it every day, all the time. And we noticed that through the years, because this is like I'm not going to tell you this story for too long because it's a 3-year story, but through the years, she just kept getting protected. So then, 3 years later, she had been promoted so many times. This person, who was the supervisor trying to unjustifiably get her fired, got fired. And my client was the person signing off on her benefits. And we really believe that came from hooponopono. Now, my client, big heart, her only thing was, I'm going to go to the meeting and be fair and just, right? So this woman threatened her livelihood for her son, which meant everything to her. She hooponopono for 3 years. She ends up being the final signature on this woman's benefits. That's what you call a 360. So could you guys relate to this? Co-workers, right? Sometimes co-workers catch up with us. Another story, a client of mine, teenager, has anxiety. She comes in, first session, I meet with her, I talk to her, second session, very young, like 19 years old, tell her about hooponopono. Next session, she comes in, she's like, Mary, I love that prayer you taught me. I don't even have to come see you anymore. I was like, all right, good. Celebration time. So this is very dear to my heart. So one of the things I decided to do on the fly one day was just teach my mom hooponopono. And she's very Christian, very prayerful woman, and she loved it. And then I know for like a whole year, she was teaching all her friends in Oklahoma hooponopono. And then we never really talked about it again. And then in August of this year, so my mom is 82, and she had chest pains, and she called my brother. Now, in my world, my mom exaggerates things. Thank God she didn't call me, because I would have told her, take 2 Tylenol and go to bed. She called my brother, who said, I'm calling an ambulance. And the ambulance got there before my brother, and my brother only lives around the corner. And at 82 years old, now I know my mom is hooponoponoing every day. 82 years old, she avoided a massive heart attack. And the doctor said he hasn't seen a story like that in 30 years. Like, she's so fortunate. 2 months later, my 60-year-old brother, do I look like I could have a 60-year-old brother? In fact, have you met my sisters? So 60 years old, my brother also had, he actually had a heart attack, but he lives in Schenectady, New York. 2:30, he was having chest pains. His wife is a nurse. Good thing she didn't call me either. And his wife said, listen, call an ambulance, we're on our way home, but just get to the hospital and I'll probably meet you at the hospital. And he called an ambulance, and by 4 p.m., he called at 2:30. By 4 p.m., he had a stent in it. That's how quickly they responded. So 2 family members, totally avoiding heart attack, stroke, that it would be damaging, and totally okay today. And I honestly believe that's from hooponopono. We also have a woman who had a rash. I'm going to show you how to tap, not EFT tapping. We kind of do a hooponopono tapping. She had a rash on her body. I didn't suggest she do this. She just took it upon herself, and she decided to tap on the rash, and the rash went away. So, baby Ryan. And the next time I give this talk, we'll have the twins up there as well. So, also a lesson that I learned, you might want to write this down. I've actually heard people kind of ask this question this weekend, is whenever I do my class, I teach a Ho'oponopono 30-day challenge, and it involves Ho'oponoponoing all the time. So I like to be in integrity. So if I teach the class, I make sure that I'm Ho'oponoponoing 3 times more than normal. And what I discovered was, whenever I teach a class, my kids' lives, you've met them, Sammy and Steph, their lives go on fire, and these positive, unexpected twists, they come in the house, they're like, oh my God, Mom, guess what? Oh my God. So what I realized was doing this so many times. And I don't have intentions. It's not like I'm like, take care of Sam, take care of Steph. I'm just Ho'oponoponoing without any intentions. And I believe what it's teaching me is that when we Ho'oponopono, the people that are closest to our hearts get the amazing vibration. They get the amazing healing, right? So if we have a loved one going through something and we're worried sick over it, it's like Joe keeps saying, you just Ho'oponopono. You stay aligned. You do the cleaning and the clearing, and it will naturally affect them. How good is it to know that, right? And of course, you'll get some reunification, reconciliation, and you never know when an old lover is going to reunite. So are you ready for the most important part of this talk? Yes. I'm going to teach you as much as I can in the limited time that we have together, and then I promise to show you how you can take it further and get more. So here is you're going to want to write this down, my 3-step Ho'oponopono Healing Express Action Plan. I'm going to jump ahead to one of my slides verbally, just to show you how important this 3-step is. A couple of months ago, I was able, with Joe's help, to build up a list of 1,000 people, right? Joe and Christy Whitman. And I sent out a mailing, and I said, would you like a free Ho'oponopono strategy call? And 74 people said yes. And we provided, about 40 people showed up. One of the women, one of my coaches back at home, her name is Coach Nicole, she jumped on the phone with this woman. She taught her exactly what I'm going to teach you right now. The woman said to her, her biggest pressing issue was debt. And Coach Nicole, walked her through this process and checked in with her 14 days later by email. And we got this beautiful email back that, I don't cry, but this could make me cry, but I probably won't cry on stage, so put your tissues away. Unless you want to bet on whether or not I cry. So back to the tissue in the story. So we get this email, and the woman explains, thank you, Nicole, so much for the free Ho'oponopono strategy call. I told you I was in debt, but I didn't tell you the whole story. Turns out, she says, I was in 5-figure debt. Now, we don't know what 5-figure is, but it could be 10,000 to almost 100 grand, right? And I was in so much debt for so long, and I saw no way out, and I had 10 days left. Timing, God's timing. I had 10 days left to pay off the debt. I was suicidal. I was contemplating ending my life because I couldn't come up with the money. She did this 3-step process. 10 days later, she got a phone call that said, don't worry about the debt. I don't know exactly how the phone call went, but the message was, we're relieving you of your debt. which relieved her of feeling like she needed to end her life. So first time out for Nicole as a coach in a strategy hooponopono call, and she saves a life. Blows my 30 years away. Right? Very powerful. Okay, so here it is. The first thing is, I'm going to give you a link. This link, you're going to want to write that down. You're going to get a free ebook today. And this woman who we saved the life with, she read the ebook, okay? And in the ebook, what it tells you is that we've created something called the 30-day Ho'oponopono Challenge. And what it is you Ho'oponopono for 30 days. You mark it on a calendar, day 1 to day 30. And guess what happens if you miss a day? You start over. And you have to hold yourself accountable to that, right? But like Joe speaks about, you want to Ho'oponopono until it becomes automatic in your mind, right? So you're just saying it without intending to say it. So I know back at home we talk about in the group, can anybody relate to, in your brain, you have front burners and back burners, right? So you want to Ho'oponopono till it's on the back burner. Now here's the other part of the challenge. Once it's on the back burners, you begin to look for your positive, unexpected twist. I think I was talking to Matthew last night, Matthew Dixon, and we were saying how people don't really see their miracles, right? So you want to actually look for what's showing up. That's an important part. So step 1, take the 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge. Don't miss a day. Look for your positive, unexpected twist. So step 2, I think this is the other thing that we're doing back in Long Island that I don't believe anyone else is doing that's incredibly powerful. So right now I want you to write down 3 areas in your life that you want healing, that Ho'oponopono hasn't helped you yet, or you want it to take you further. So write down 3 things. This is what we did in the seminar, and this is what we do all the time on Long Island. Now, when we're home, when you go home, I'd like you to put it on an index card, okay? And the more colorful the index card, the better. For me, I don't know why, but Ho'oponopono seems to be the colors yellow and orange. And was it July? In July, I got to Mastermind with Dr. Joe Vitale. And I was going crazy looking for a thank you card. But, you can't give Joe a regular card, right? You got to give him like a big card. So I search high and low looking for this card, and I can't find it anywhere. And I'm down to the last day, and I walk into the card store right around the corner from my house, because I was trying to get it online and all this stuff. And they have one card, and guess what the colors were? Yellow and orange with a big thank you on it, right? So get yourself a colorful index card and an eraser. What does this eraser remind you guys of? Cleaning? Kindergarten, right? Does this bring you back to some of us, not the youngins in the room, but those of us that use this as an eraser in kindergarten, right? So basically what we want to do is take an eraser and an index card, and you write down what you need, and you can put them in a pile, like Ho'oponopono goes right through the cards. You do not have to tap on every individual card. And we take our eraser, and we just, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And you say it until you feel a shift of feeling better, okay? So I don't know why it works, but I can tell you back in Long Island, for these amazing stories, 90% of the people that got those changes had an index card stack that they were tapping on. Now, when you tap, oh, there's Sammy's. Anybody want to see how thick Sammy's file is? Hold it up again, Sam.
I got a binder clip on it.
So, you just, every day, every week, you just keep adding to your pile. But when you tap, after the first year, people were coming into the seminar with these erasers that had black tips on it. And I'm like, well, how's everybody getting the black tip on their eraser? And then I discovered they're tapping like this. Like with all their might, right? Like, bring me my healing, bring it now, please, please, please. And then we discovered the best thing to do is you tap in a trusting way. It's just, I love you, I thank you. So you tap very gently. Tap very trustingly with a trusting attitude. Okay, so are you guys willing to do that? Let's see what kind of radical change you get. Oh, and by the way, we discovered, hey, when in doubt, tap on everything, right? So one week we had a follow-up group, and there was a woman who's very nervous. They had discovered some cancer in her ovaries. Now, these are all true stories, non-exaggerated. I witnessed them all. So we decided to do something a little different, that since we were only like 6 women, sometimes we would do what we call a healing hooponopono circle. We would put a chair in the middle of the room, and everybody would put their card in the middle, and we would grab our erasers, and we would all tap on each other's cards at the same time. This particular week, something inspired me to tell the woman, Jackie is her name, why don't you take your eraser and tap on the part of your body that you're worried about? And she did. She tapped. She was going to have the cancer removed 14 days later. So 14 days later, she went to her procedure, and she did have something removed. You know, I don't know exactly what they did, but they removed something, and they sent her home. Now, sorry to get graphic, but a couple hours later, when she was home, a black mass was released from her body when she went to the bathroom. So she immediately called the doctor, and she said, you know, what do I do about this black mass? What does that mean? And the doctor said, I don't know what black mass you're talking about, but it didn't come from my procedure, because I have done thousands and thousands of these, and nobody has black masses come out of their body. It's not related to what we did today, right? So we believe that the tapping on her ovary helped cleanse and clean some more. So go ahead and tap on everything, but not your neighbor. You are not allowed to tap on your neighbor, right? Because you have to clean on you. So the third step in the 3-step action plan is have a daily hooponopono focus. So I've created a way for you to do that. Now, you can pick any one of these 3 questions. You could have a morning hooponopono question, afternoon or evening. Or for my overachievers in the room, how many are you guys going to pick? All 3. So the questions are, I wonder what miracles hooponopono will bring to me today. Am I cleaning, clearing, and erasing as much as possible until I feel better? And how do I feel hooponoponoing today? How did I feel hooponoponoing today? And what magical moments am I most grateful for? So I'll give you a second to write those down. So 3 steps. Take the 30-day Ho'oponopono challenge, tap with your eraser on your index cards, and have a daily Ho'oponopono focus, okay? And if anyone's missing the questions, you can come up to me and I'll get them to you. Told you the story about we saved a life. Right before we came here, we had 2 amazing stories. I'll tell them very quickly because then I want to move on to more stuff. So the Monday night before I came here, there's a woman in the group, and her husband got fired 6 years ago, and I forget the exact initials, but she took out a lawsuit called something like EEOP, Equal Opportunity or something, because it was about discrimination. And 99.9% of these lawsuits, they never win. So she was told that. So for 6 years, she's been waiting on this lawsuit. She started my group in January. Mid-February, she decided to add an index card about this lawsuit. This past Monday, she comes to group. She got a letter in the mail. She won the lawsuit, the type of lawsuit that no one ever wins, unexpected positive twist. She will be given, her husband will be given, they will be given, anywhere between $100,000 and $300,000 from the lawsuit. Then there was another woman in the group that was just as excited to share. I love this story. So we also teach how to, Joe talks about this as well, how to combine Ho'oponopono with law of attraction. So a single mom, she's in the group, and she has a kind of rough ex-husband, and the husband had done something to the children. She was very upset. She lost her composure, and she sent a very nasty text to her ex-husband. And after she hit send, she was like, oh my God, I'm going to pay for that. Why did I do that? So she decided, well, let me take the material from the class and apply it. So that night, before she went to bed, she took out an index card, and this is exactly what she wrote. I don't want to have to ask or beg for my child support anymore, right? She tapped on it and she went to bed. She's a school teacher. She woke up the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning there was a big fat envelope in her mailbox. Anybody know what was in it? 10 months worth of post-dated child support checks. She doesn't have to ask anymore, right? Good stories.